And welcome back. It is me, as always, Ray, and this is the Bourgeois Gentleman's Reading Room, or as I like to call it, my living room. In case you're wondering why I'm not wearing a suit like I was the last time, it's Casual Wednesdays, which means I get to wear a wrinkled shirt and some slacks. And some saddlebucks with blue socks. Don't make fun of my skinny ankles. I thought about rocking a sweater like Mr. Rogers, but then I felt like, I just can't live up to that guy. As always, behind the camera is everyone's favorite ninja marsupial, Shaolin Koala Stafford. Actually, just as clarification, her name's not Koala. It's not. It's Kiloa. You know what? She's not important. No one cares. I'm also joined by everyone's favorite friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Peter Parker, who's maybe had a little bit too much Makers and ginger, but he's not dead, Shao. He's not dead. You can't kill Peter. Just ask Doc. Just ask Doc Ock. But last topic of the night before we call it quits, we both have to get ready. Comic-Con starts tomorrow. New York City Comic-Con, that is, not San Diego. We're both going to have a good time, and it's going to be awesome. But one last topic. Today dropped Batgirl number 35, written by Cameron Stewart, one of my favorite internet people. I stalk him religiously on Tumblr and on Twitter and on Instagram. He lives in Germany, which is crazy. Dude, how am I supposed to stalk you if you live, on another continent? It's craziness, It's bullshit. That's all I'm saying. Come to America and don't give me that whole you're Canadian nonsense, which actually wouldn't be a bad thing because even if you were in Canada, I could make it there. Who doesn't enjoy trips to America Junior? Poutine. Oh, Shao. Oh. But anyway, Batgirl number 35. Didn't get a chance to read it. Mostly just skimmed through it. But the important thing about this is it is the debut of Batgirl's new costume, as designed by the great, super talented Cameron Stewart. And one of the most awesome things about this, and one of the reasons I'm bringing it up, is, hey, Internet, slow down with the accolades about the costume. It's a costume. And it's practical looking. And it's awesome. And it's fantastic. And I'm super excited about it. And I'm actually super excited to see a practical costume, if for no other reason than the fact that it's just different. But, before we start patting Cameron on the back, how about we wait to read the issue? The reason I say this is, for years, comics have had lots of TNA. They've had lots of semi-revealing costumes. In lots of cases, they've had costumes that just don't make sense. That just don't seem practical in any sense. And a large part of that is because it's a visual medium. A large part of that is because it's a completely visual medium and you have 5 seconds to let little Johnny know that, hey, this is a chick. Hey, this is a girl. There's a reason Wonder Woman wore a skirt. Let's face it, she's an Amazon warrior. Why wouldn't she be wearing battle armor? Well, the reason I say that is, and the reason she's not, is because, let's be honest with each other, have you ever seen a woman in battle armor? Have you ever seen a woman in the army who's part of a troop battalion? At best, if she looks different from the men, it's only because she looks like a little boy. She doesn't actually look like a woman. And when you're dealing with a visual medium, you actually need to convey this super quickly. Super, super quickly. The important part of this medium is the writing. No matter how practical or cool looking her costume is, this will sink or swim based on the writing and based on the total package. One of the one of my all-time favorite characters, one of the most empowered characters you'll ever find in comics, and also one of my favorite X-Men was Storm. If you've ever read any of Chris Claremont's issues, I swear to you, like 45% of the time, 50% of the time that Storm's in an issue, she's ass fucking naked. Like, she's just naked all the time. And if you look back at that, you might say that it was sexist. But when you read the issues, you start to realize that she's a woman who comes from the jungle and doesn't like the constraints of clothes. She wears it only to be polite. Truth be told, she'd rather be naked. And it actually kind of makes sense. You don't go to the beach and want to put on more clothes, do you? Have you ever seen Brazil? I mean, they try to get as naked as humanly possible. And in most instances, they do. I mean, have you ever been to Miami? I have. And it's a good time. But ultimately, the point I'm trying to make is it's all about the writing. Storm was crafted as a well-crafted character. She's was extremely strong. I mean, she lost her powers and still fought back from that. As I always say, one of my favorite X-Men issues is Uncanny X-Men issue 201. And it's a fantastic issue where Storm fights Cyclops for leadership of the X-Men. And she has no powers. And she just basically beats him. And basically beats him using her mind and using her wits. And it's a phenomenal issue. And I think like 2 issues later, she's naked again. Uncanny X-Men issue annual number 11. Again, she's naked in it. It's awesome. But again, it's never used as just TNA. Yes, the primary reader is our boys, our teenage boys. And yes, it's used to sell those things. But the truth of the matter is that really it's just a way of conveying that these characters are women. I don't believe in blatant sexism. If anyone's ever read any Wildstorm comic books from the late 90s, you'll know that that shit was crazy. Like, you'd read an old issue of Wildcats and they'd go into an office building and there'd be some woman who's a secretary, and first off, she's rocking a level 7 on her shirt. And you're like, man, I've worked in an office. I've never seen anybody rock a level 7 with that much cleavage. Wow, why's your skirt all the way up to your choach? That's uncomfortable. I've worked in offices, and yes, this woman is a professional, but it's called streetwalker, not secretary. No, those outfits aren't appropriate. Just tugging back to Revival, all of the women there dress like women from Wausau County, Wisconsin. They're appropriate. But in the case of superheroes, even if you want it to be appropriate, their costumes are still going to be hip-hugging. They're still going to accentuate their mams. For all of the kudos that Jamie McKelvey and Kelly Sue DeConnick got for their revamp of Captain Marvel, take note, that costume with its battle armor mask to protect her face was still hip-hugging. It was still accentuating her bosom. Still accentuated her hips. Yes, this costume is awesome. Not only because it's different, it's awesome because it's age appropriate. It's awesome because it fits into the story. It's awesome because she bought it basically from things she scrounged up at a thrift store. Fuck you, Macklemore. Fuck you. Trashy ass rapper. Sorry, I had a bad acid flashback. But it's awesome because it's just awesome. But it will still only be as awesome as the writing. Costumes are costumes. There's a reason Captain America stayed around and the Shield hasn't, or American flag hasn't. There's a reason Captain America literally looked like a flag for all of his existence, except until recently. It's because his name was Captain America, and we needed people to know that immediately. There's a reason why Luke Cage looks like a bald black guy from Harlem who just hangs out on 125th Street. Well, it's because he's a bald black guy from Harlem who grew up on 125th Street. There's a reason Danny Rand looks like a sexy ninja. And just in case you don't know who Danny Rand is, he's Iron Fist. There's a reason he looks that way. It's because, well, when you read the character, he's a sexy ninja. There's a reason that Doctor Strange looks like a drunk sorcerer. It's mostly because he was a drunk sorcerer. Let's slow down on the costume talk. And let's slow down on every costume or every time a woman's naked, it's sexist. It's not. Yes, I'm not asking for those days of Wildstorm to be back, because those were awful. And nobody likes Chi-Chi's. Actually, that's a lie. I love Chi-Chi's. Not the restaurant, but the mams. Mams are awesome. But no one likes senseless and gratuitous mams for no reason. Actually, that's a lie too, because I actually like senseless and... You know what? The point is how about we just wait, read the issue, and then pat Cameron on the back. Cameron, I love you. Come to America. All right. That's it for today's show. Hopefully, next episode, we'll work out the travel arrangements. I'll definitely have Becky Cloonan here. I'm going to go give a little Pete mouth-to-mouth. Sorry for rambling so much. Rural. And Xiao's combing her hair, so I think somebody's getting lucky. And it's probably not me. Anyway, you guys have a good one. See you at Comic-Con. Good night. Hey, Internet, don't be a douchebag-opotamus. Night.